Hello Williams class. For your computing lesson today, the learning objective is, can I understand how the internet is used for messaging? So remember, if you find something online that you find concerning, you can do two things. Talk to a trusted adult, or you can call Childline. And the number for Childline is 0800 1111. Now here is a poster from 1940. It says, Dr. Carrot, the children's best friend. So I would like for you to have a think about these two questions. What is the purpose of this poster? Why was this poster created? And the second question I would like for you to think about is, what effect do you think it had on children in 1940? Now remember, that was years and years ago. How many years to be precise? That was 60, 70, 81 years ago? A long, long time. What I also would like for you to think about is, how was this made? What did they use? What materials and machines did they use to create this poster? How long do you think would it have taken for 1,000 people to see this poster? Now today, think about today. How do we send messages today? What I would like for you to do is to write a list of ways that we can send each other messages today. And I will reveal some of those ways to you once you write your own ideas down. Now, some ways in which we can send each other messages today are by using these apps that you can see here. So you've got Facebook, WhatsApp, Messenger, Messages, Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram, Gmail. So you've got lots and lots of different methods of sending messages today. And they're all used in very different ways as well. So Facebook, you're able to share photos, videos, messages. With WhatsApp, you're able to do video calls, you're able to do voice calls, you're able to send messages and pictures and videos. Messages is when you're able, again, to send pictures, photos, pictures and videos, and you're also able to send voice messages as well. With Snapchat, the main way in which you send messages on there is by taking a photo and then writing on that photo anything that you want to say. Messenger is an extension of Facebook, so that is where you can do your video calls and your voice calls as well. And Instagram, again, is a way of showing other friends and family pictures that you've taken that you would like for them to see. And Gmail is sending emails to your friends and family. Now, this is the speed of messaging today. Now, what you would do today is you would write the message, you would then stop, you would then click send, and then you would get 1,000 views in 10 minutes. In 1940, however, this is the way that messaging used to work. You would write a message, then you'd stop. You would then send it to a printer's or a post office, which would probably take a day to do. It would then need to travel to its destination, which would take about 2 days. Then that message would need to be displayed on a wall or on a newspaper, which would then need to have been bought. So all in all, you would get around 1,000 views of that message, but you wouldn't get it in 10 minutes like you would today. Back in 1940, it would take you around 4 to 6 days. So basically a week. Now, what happens to messages? So in 1940, you would just throw away a message that you would get because it would quite often be on a piece of paper. However, today, you're able to save these messages. You're able to keep them nice and safe in many, many different ways, because now technology has really, really advanced. It's gotten a lot better at saving your messages rather than having to throw them pretty much straight away like you would have done if you were around in 1940. Now, here are your 3 challenges for your computing lesson. Challenge number 1 is to make a poster that shows how quick messages are sent today online. Number 2, write down an online guide when it comes to posting messages online. And challenge number 3 is to write a comparison between how messages are sent now to that in 1940. So when we think about our poster, what do we need to include in our poster to make sure that it is as great as it can be? Let's have a little think. We should have a title. What else do you think we would need? Some sort of picture. And then I'd write in brackets, you would need a picture with either a caption or a label, just to tell us what that picture is for. What else would you need in your poster? Make a poster that shows how quick messages are sent today online. Reasons why messages today are sent so quickly. There you go. So those are 3 features at least that you should include in your poster. Now on to number 2. Write down an online guide when it comes to posting messages online. So when you're writing your online guide, what do you need to include? Have a little think for me. Remember, online guide. I would want to see some sort of introduction. So I would want to see that you've included why you're writing this online guide in the first place. Think about when you were writing instructions, you would never write a set of instructions without first telling your reader why you are writing them. So there would be some sort of introduction. Now, when you have a guide, you would need to make sure that you've either got bullet points or that you've numbered your guide. So I'm going to write bullet points and number your guide. I'll say guide. What else would we need in our online guide? Write down an online guide when it comes to posting messages online. Anything at all. I think I would write an important note right at the end just to remind whoever's reading your online guide why it is so important that we have this online guide to begin with. It's so we can stay safe and so we know how to post messages online. So important note. Lovely. Now, last but not least is write a comparison between how messages are sent now to that in 1940. So how would you start to write some sort of comparison? What would you need to include in your writing? You would need to include similarities. So what is the same about how messages are sent now to how messages were sent in 1940? So I'm going to write that. Similarities. So if you're writing about what's the same about messaging today and in the past, what else would you need to include then to make sure that you've got balance in your answer? The differences. So what's different about how messages are sent now to that in 1970? Very good. Differences. Now, in terms of structuring your work, the way in which I would structure it, but you can choose to structure it in a different way. Make sure when you are doing tables, I would choose to do a table. And make sure when you are writing or drawing out your table, you are using a ruler. Now, I don't have a ruler on the screen, unfortunately, otherwise I would definitely be using it. And I would write, what's the 2 words that we like to write when we are doing a comparison? They both begin with the letter C. If I tell you that the first one is compare, what would the second word be? You should know this from lots of our lessons when we've been looking at similarities and differences. contrast. I hope some of you were shouting that out. So you could have a table like this where you have compare in one for one label and then contrast for your other label. And you would just write what's the same about how messages are sent now. And then in the contrast table or contrast column, you would write the differences between how messages are sent now to how messages were sent in 1940. So that's just a little bit of a clue for you as to how to structure your answers and what to write. That's all from me for your computing lesson for today, Williams class. Really well done and how well you have been doing. And I will see you again in the next video. Take care.